Hello folks, welcome back to our channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing another episode of Medium. And today I'm going to be reviewing the 20th episode of the third season called Head Games. Head Games, indeed. The episode was directed by Joanna Kearns, and the episode was written by Javier Grillo Morsiewicz and Robert Doherty and Maura Kurland. And the episode originally aired on May 2nd, 2007. So what's this episode about? Wow, many things happen in this episode. Alright, so let's start at the beginning. Basically, Allison has a dream, and she basically sees a murder taking place, and the guilty person is named Walter Paxton. And basically Allison believes that this young man murdered his wife, right? And basically her and DeValos are basically trying to it's more about DeValos, I guess. He's trying to convict this man by basically convincing the jury of his guilt, right? According to Wikipedia. I'm quoting a little bit from over there. So basically he's telling the jurists he's telling the jurists about this man, Walter Paxton, and how he basically might have killed his wife, and so on and so forth, right? He's trying to get them to see that this man is dangerous and that he's a killer, right? So this is basically this whole episode, and it seems that the district attorney, yeah, he's having it kind of rough in this episode because it's kind of hard for some reason to get this man convicted. And, yeah, this is basically how it goes. So, there's a lot of heat. He's taking a lot of heat, you might say. So, this isn't a real walk in the park kind of case. It's more of a tough one. Meanwhile, at the same time, Joe is basically still kind of trying to after what happened, after the shooting that I told you about that happened a few episodes prior to that, he's still trying to cope with that whole situation. So basically, he goes to see a therapist in order to help him through this, I guess, through this hard time through this rough patch he's going through. And, yeah, this is basically how it goes. He can't really share with his wife, share anything with his wife because he doesn't really talk to her anymore. Like I said in the previous episode, they were actually kind of distant. He was actually pretty distant himself from his wife. And, so yeah, he wouldn't talk to her that much. He wouldn't share too much with her. He would basically keep to himself. And yet at the same time, he's talking to one of his colleagues, one of his co-workers, who basically is having a baby soon, right? She was pregnant. And yeah, he would talk to her, she would talk to him, and they wouldn't really confide in their confide. They wouldn't really confide in their respective partners, life partners, like husband and wife. Husband for that woman, and Joe with his wife. Basically, they wouldn't really share anything with them because it's a difficult time they're going through. So, yeah, this is basically how it goes. And in the meantime, Allison is basically, she's going to meet a woman who basically, she goes to talk to her at the district attorney's office where Allison is working, and basically she tells her that she basically, by mistake, she bumped her car with hers, and she has to look at it. She tells Allison that she would like her to have a look to know exactly what can be done about it, and how she could help her fix this. But it seems that it's not really a big thing. But then the two of them basically become close, and they basically end up hanging out together. That woman is named Deborah, and basically, I gotta tell you, she's played by Neve Campbell from Scream, which was awesome to have her in the show. Neve Campbell is a great actress. So basically, her and Allison are gonna be talking together about the whole thing, and about did I just say about the whole thing? I mean, they kind of get to know each other, and they're gonna be hanging out together. And Allison is gonna tell her a little bit about the case because it's a well-known case, and that woman pretends. Actually, she claims to be a douche junkie, so she's keeping up with what's happening, and it seems that Allison's boss is not really he's not doing very well with this case. As I told you, it's a difficult case. And that killer, I didn't tell you about this, but basically he's a serial killer. It seems that he basically beheads women. He basically beheads women and put the last victim, the last victim's head on the new one, on the cured victim that he basically killed recently. So he's a serial killer. That's pretty awful, right? Awful stuff. That's creepy. Hindi. That's very graphic. This episode is really graphic. Not for the faint of heart. All right. But yeah, in this episode, basically, this man, they're gonna try to have him arrested. Have him arrested for what he did. But yeah, this is basically a very hard case for everybody. And I didn't mention that, but basically, yeah, Joe, yeah, there's still a lot of tension between Allison and her husband Joe, and they're not really talking that much to each other. Yeah, they're more like, yeah, like I said, it's a difficult time. But yeah, that woman Deborah seems okay, and her and Allison are basically hitting it off. They're hitting it off. They're getting along with each other. But then Allison has a rather shocking dream near the end. All right. So this is basically how it goes. I didn't mention it, but the woman, Joe's colleague, is basically she just had her baby at the hospital, and Joe is gonna go there with some balloons, I believe, to congratulate her because of for that. But yeah, that was good. All right, so that's basically all there is to be about this episode. So let's move on to the characters before I move I move on to my personal rating. So basically, we have Neve Campbell as Deborah, awesome actress, awesome character, but there's more to her, and you'll find out as you go on. Then we have Jason Presley, Jason Priestley as Walter Paxton. Then we have Aurie Gross as Cooper Conroy, as the Cooper Conroy's voice, who's basically talking to Joe at the beginning, and he's an attorney, apparently, and he tells him that Joe, he has some good news, that Joe is going to get a lot of money because of something. I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to get into go into too much details. I don't want to go into too much details. I don't want to go into detail, but I'll let you find out for yourselves what happens. Then we have Dakin Matthews. Dakin Matthews as Judge Arthur Brock. David Aaron Baker as Dr. Myers. Tina D. Joseph as Linda Novi. Katie Chrysler as Melinda Bell, the pregnant woman. Kamala Lopez as Paxton's attorney. Katie McNicol as Natalie Paxton. Ron Butler as desk clerk. Miranda Curbelo as Marie, and Paula Fullerton as nurse. So those are the main characters and actors. My favorite one being Neve Campbell, of course. But yeah, that episode was pretty good. It was more of a court case in a way, but a very kind of difficult court case. It's not as easy as it seems. And yeah, we're gonna get to hear the one who's guilty talk about himself and try and get the jury to listen to him, to hear him out, to hear his side of the story. But that was a good episode in my opinion, although pretty graphic too with the head things. But yeah, this was the episode Head Games, episode 20 from the 3rd season. If I were to rate this episode on a scale from 1 to 10, I believe I would give it an 8 out of, maybe an 8 out of 10. It was a good one. And the rest is much better. I didn't tell you, but this is basically the first part of a 3-part episode. Basically, the next episode is going to be taking over, resuming, taking over where this one leaves off. Basically, it's a 3-part episode. And yeah, all the way to the last episode of the 3rd season. But that was a good beginning, but the rest is much better in my opinion. So this is Head Games for you, and 8 out of 10 for this episode as far as I'm concerned. What about you folks? What did you think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Really love to hear about your thoughts and views on this episode. In the meantime, folks, stay safe, go bye, take care, and 8 out of 10 for me. This whole channel for you signing off.